Hello, and welcome back to another Guide 2 meeting. Today we are doing the internet's quickest set review of Magic the Gathering's Tarkir Dragonstorm, so without further ado, let's begin. We'll begin with our 60-card competitive formats. Unfortunately, nothing for Legacy or Vintage this time around. Rotkurse Rakshasa is going to be a black aggro staple in both Standard and Pioneer. 5 damage for 2 mana is simply an incredible rate, and removing blockers afterwards is just icing on the cake. Stadium Headliner is a nice flexible option for Goblins or Standard Red Deck wins, but I don't expect it to produce results as long as Mice are in Standard. And Frontline Rush, as many have said, is a strict upgrade of Resolute Reinforcements, and will find immediate purchase in any Boros Convoke shells. Songcrafter Mage may not be the second coming of Snapcaster, but it could open doors for a Teamer Tempo-y Control-y archetype, and it has a unique synergy with Collected Company that might give it a home in Pioneer. Sun Pearl Kirin is an immediate consideration for Esper Pixie decks, and I wouldn't be surprised if Flash gives it a leg up on Fear of Isolation. Coresteel Cutter could form the basis of a cantrip-heavy Phoenix Light deck in Standard, although I wouldn't really keep my hopes too high for this one, because there's just so much artifact and enchantment removal already floating around the meta. Disruptive Stormbrood has a chance in Golgari midrange, but I wouldn't expect to see it as a playset. Auroral Procession is just so damn efficient that I could see it in any value-focused deck that can support its colors. Potentially, albeit unlikely, as far back as Modern. And Offenza Unyielding Lineage seems a great option for both Aristocrats decks and generic midrange decks as a combo combat trick and value engine. United Battlefront is an interesting option for unique non-creature focused decks like Simulacrum Synthesizer Artifacts and Doom Foretold. Heritage Reclamation just seems like a passable sideboard option for decks that really need both artifact and enchantment removal, but don't have the slots to run better singular answers like a Braid. Green is eating good today with a triple threat of standard staples. Herd Heirloom helps ramp for big stompy decks. Craterhoof Behemoth provides the perfect top end for stompy, or perhaps more importantly, elves, and Surak Elusive Hunter toes the line between ideal protective piece and unplayable trash, and I'm excited to see where he lands. Speaking of eating good, Jeskai decks find a great sideboard option in Overwhelming Surge, the perfect removal spell in Glacial Dragonhunt, and Essence Anchor, which maybe acts as a controlling finisher for if the Oculus gets the ended. It appears Sultai is the color of control this set, as it gets Strategic Betrayal, one of the best Edict Standard has ever seen, Fangkeeper's Familiar, which can take on Aggro, Caretaker's Talent, and everything but the kitchen sink in Domain, and Rakshasa's Bargain, an instant speed stock-up if the mana base allows. As I was saying, it appears that Sultai is the color of combo this set, with the Poor Man's Buried Alive in Lotus Light Dancers, the Poor Man's Heartless Summoning in the Sib Sig Ceremony, and the poor man's version of whatever eventually power creeps Keru Goldkeeper and actually sees play somewhere, because these cards are too expensive. I don't really think the dragons will be any good, but if they were, I'd imagine a controlling deck with lots of exhales, the previously mentioned Golgari Omen, and maybe a bit of gold land destruction. Penultimate of this section are the cards I think have a solid chance in Modern. Mox Jasper is just waiting to be broken by either a cheap dragon or changeling. Nature's Rhythm could find a prime time and then immediately harmonize the next turn to find another, although realistically it might just be a bit too slow. And Ugin, Eye of the Storms, is a Tron player's wet dream. And one last thing before I talk about other formats, these cards are personal choices of mine. The first two, Dragon Sniper and Sunset Strike Master, are power and color pie creep to keep our eyes on, and the last, Inevitable Defeat, makes me want to play a weird Mardu controlling burn deck. It's Pauper time, baby! Dragons are most certainly not good in Pauper. That said, I once saw a weird mono-black changeling burn deck with Gem Palm Polluter and Smitten Swordmaster, and maybe some of the dragon payoffs could be decent there. And my only other Pauper pick is Seize Opportunity, which is a strange take on Red Resolve and Reckless Impulse. More expensive, but instant speed and an option to pump to get in lethal. I don't know, I give it like a 20% chance of actually being playable, but better than 0. And now for something completely different, Competitive Commander. Clarion Conqueror is a really good stacks piece in the right deck. Personally would note is probably the best option since it doesn't really care about artifact or creature ramp that much, so as soon as stacks becomes playable again, watch out for this one. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Will of the Jeskai is a solid value card for extremely turbo decks like Rogsai, giving me a reason to finally add Jeska's Will to my deck. We also get 2 cards for mid-range Hell. Mistrise Village may not be the best option around, but I certainly expect a lot of players to be testing it soon. And Grand Abolisher is going to be so happy to find a twin sister in Voice of Victory. Usually I'd add a few casual commander cards that interest me here, but there actually wasn't anything to talk about that wasn't already mentioned somewhere else, so time for the special awards. My favorite art of the set goes to Desperate Measures, and my favorite name for the set goes to Delta Bloodflies. And my least favorite art of the set is this specific showcase frame that they have that makes mono white cards look like mono blue cards for some reason. And my least favorite name of the set is Dragon's Prey, because for some reason, the easiest thing to be the prey of a dragon is another dragon? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this set review. I know it was a bit later than usual and the audio is very echoey, but I'm hoping to fix both of those issues for the next set that will release in Chex Notes 2 months. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.